Hey, yo, what's up? What's up? Guys, welcome to another video. Today I want to be showing my Magicfinder that I've been working on for a little bit now. It's by no means done yet, but just want to make a video just to have a video of the current state of it. Go a little bit over the gear and then do a map real quick. So this one is made specifically for magic findings, so that means that you're increasing the chance of dropping uniques and you're increasing the quantity of the items that you're finding, which is a nice way to farm. Because why run one map or two maps when you can run one map and get the loot that you would normally get out of two maps, right? Um, Simple as that. Yeah, so it's a Val Stormcall and Val Spark build. Um, that that's pretty much it. It's self-cast and it uses Soul Catcher, the Legacy Soul Catcher, to have permanent uptime for both of those skills. As you can see here, there's the Stormcall, there's the Spark. So I'm not going to go into depth on what Spark does or what Stormcall does. That should be pretty self-explanatory. Just hover over it here real quick. There. All right. So the gear that I ended up making or using is of course a headhunter, and I just went for crit because it's pretty hard to get crit on my tree because I'm on the ranger side and spells tend to be on the top side. So the crit cap was pretty rough to hit. Here's a pair of gloves that I'm actually very satisfied with, especially as far as implicits go. That's 14% exposure. That is otherwise very hard to get. And blast freeze, which saves me a point on the cluster jaw. So that is a very nice glove. I wish there was a rarity prefix on there instead of the pierce, but yeah, maybe later. For now, it's just quantity and pretty much gets my resistance capped. For boots, it kind of is the exact same. Like I'm satisfied with it, but at the same time, there's a chance I might redo it. There's a spell suppression suffix on here, which I didn't want to roll over because spell suppression is that good. Um, might redo a pair of boots later. They're by no means insane, and character is overall still quite ghetto. This first ring is pretty much an attack-based ring. Uh, really only because of the attack speed, but the flat added damage actually applies very well to Spark and is quite strong. To put it in perspective, the craft that is on there right now is actually stronger than 20% increased damage craft, so yeah, that does the job quite well. Here's the other ring, which is actually a little better because it has a usable suffix, fire resistance rather than attack speed. Looks roughly the same, except this time it's conductivity instead of elemental weakness. So, because I have two curses, I'll need one additional curse, which I have on the chest. And the chest has additional curse, life, and then armor during soaking prevention, which for me is permanent, and as well as spell crit, which is not perfectly divined, but I'm satisfied with the current divine of it. And the most important mod there is the suck that gems are supported with level 20 item rarity, which means that whatever link you have in here, which is my Foul Spark, gets the increased rarity from the chest, so it's essentially a 7 link. Amulet I'm actually very satisfied with, and it was quite easy to craft, thanks to Whitman for helping me out with that and telling me like how to do this. It's not that big of a deal. It's just score and spam until you hit rarity. Of course, you need the fractured one, score and spam until you hit rarity, and then you. What did I do? I think I meta crafted for rarity, and then augment lightning while crafting flat added lightning to attacks because then there's only this mod left and then you force +1 lightning. Great amulet ended up giving me 25% more damage compared to my previous amulet, and yeah, super happy with this. These are really the only two damage mods that apply to this build as far as amulets go. Um, Helm is really bad, but it has 50 rarity, and recrafting a 50-20 or 50-20 is like a 50 rarity 20 quantity helmet. It's quite expensive, and I currently don't have the funds to do so. So For now, I have this, and I put on a Spark enchant when lab was decent. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a make or break it kind of scenario, but it's definitely GG. Now for the weapon, I'm using a pretty much I crafted this from a blue item. It's an implicit, or it's a synthesized staff with the spell deals double damage implicit, and suffixes were pretty systematically crafted. I did want the Arcane Search because as a Val skill build, it's very hard to get Arcane Search because you never end up spending any mana because your mana is locked to always being 0 essentially. So having Arcane Search essentially means you get 10% more spell damage as a suffix, which is pretty good. Crit chance, like I mentioned earlier, is very important because the ranger side of the tree doesn't have that much access to crit chance. For spells, that is. So that's a nice way to compensate for that. And the prefixes I was kind of just lucky hitting. Don't quite remember what I did. I think I did Reforged Lightning. Suffix is going to be changed Reforged Lightning for +3 to Lightning. And then I just randomly Exalt Slanted for tier 1 fire damage, which isn't too good. Well, it's good. It's like the third best thing I could have hit. The best thing would have been Lightning, then Cold, and then Fire. So either way, I'm satisfied with it. And then I put on this craft, and that is the end of the story for that. Now, skill tree looks essentially the same as most of our skill builds. Double cluster set up there. Over here, I have a Elegant Hubris with rarity, rarity, rarity. And that's a crit chance there, which for me is nice. For most people, wouldn't be nice. But triple rarity. Jewels, I have a Conqueror's Potency. And generally speaking, the jewels look something like this with triple crit multi and life. These are the ghetto versions that are 12, 15, 18. And down here I have one actual good one, 15, 18, 15, 15, 18, so 3% higher. Then there's another one of those. It's really, really good jewels. For mediums, I have pressure points and basics of pain for crit cap. And then my one large cluster looks something like this. It has Sadist, a Snowstorm. I need Snowstorm to get my Trinity going, so that's why that is on there. And my other jewel has a Spike Concoction Fasting, and the reason why I have this is not because I think Spike Concoction I need, but Fasting I don't really need. But this is actually my Corrupted Blood jewel, and on top of that, it is just great for suffixes. It has double tier 1 resist, so quite satisfied with this. Then I have a Unnerved Culling Strike jewel here with Wish for Death and Master of Fear on a Curse jewel. Then my other jewel is a Cold jewel that has Sadist again and Snowstorm. This time it also has Disorienting Display. Now I do have Cold on here, while this is a Lightning jewel. That is to kind of balance my Trinity a little bit more. So yeah, there's that. My Watcher's Eye looks something like this. Wrath Pen, Vitality, Life Gain on hit, and a big crit mod. And then for auras, I'm using Zealotry, Wrath, Blood and Scent Anomalous for projectile speed, and Vitality. Just go over my, let's see, where is it? Here, Blood and Scent on alt quality gives projectile speed. And that's essentially the only reason why I use it, because Spark scales with that. Flask, Rot Gut, but you could swap this for Quicksilver. I'm just testing it out. I think it's cool using Flasks that people generally speaking don't use, so that is why I decided to use Rotgut. Cinder Swallow, however, I also have a flask over here, an alternate flask setup where I have a gold flask. But Cinder Swallow is just nice because it allows me to spam my Val Righteous Fire maps, and essentially this gives me like a 40% more damage increase over a gold flask. So it's very nice. Divination Distillate, which has permanent uptime due to Soul Catcher stopping my mana recovery. So what that would look like, normally it's very hard to sustain this if I would press this right now. And let's just go to my resist, because this gets max res. You'll see that it doesn't do anything. Now I'm actually pressing the flask. But if I now press my Soul Catcher first and then I move, which causes me to use mana, and then I use it, you'll see that it's taking effect now. And the effect is going to be as long as the flask will last, which is 5 seconds, or until one of these runs out. But essentially what I'm doing during the entire map is I will chain between these two. So when this one runs out, I'll move over to the other one. And it's pretty much 100% uptime on the divination distillate. So with all that, I'm running at, let's see, let's go to the spark. Let's go to Valspar for good measure. With all my stuff up, I'm running around with 210 quantity and 467 rarity. And on top of that, there's the 25% rarity of items slain by unique monsters. Right, so that's about it for my gear overview and all that. So I will be posting this video separate from the showcase. In the next video, I will be showing you a map, this one here in particular, of how this character performs for that. So thank you for watching, and I hope this is a nice and systematic overview on how you can potentially make this build. Budget-wise, you're looking at probably about, you can make it very cheap for maybe about 200x, but it will really scale well with currency. So do keep that in mind. So comfortably, I would not be going into this unless I would have at least one mirror to spend. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video, which should be uploaded only a couple of minutes from this one, where we'll be doing this map.